Yep, we're talking about periods. Today we're talking about menstrual cups, and actually one of the first videos on this channel was about this topic. But that was like a year and a half ago, and honestly, the quality on that thing ain't that good. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to do an updated version because I have a way better setup now, and also I've been using my menstrual cup for a year and a half longer, so that's another year and a half of experience that I get to share with you. So a menstrual cup is this little guy, okay? And this is the one I have. There are all kinds of brands that have their own little unique shapes and things like that, but this is the Diva cup, and I got this one basically because it's the one that you can most easily find in stores, and I bought mine in person, and so that's why I went with this option. So this is what it looks like. That's the menstrual cup. A little intro if you're curious. What a menstrual cup does is it basically serves the same purpose that a pad or a tampon does during your period. It collects all the blood and fluid and all of that stuff so that you can dispose of it when the time comes. So there are a couple reasons why you might want to use a menstrual cup over a pad or a tampon. First off, it's gonna save you a ton of money. Okay, menstrual cup, this is a one-time purchase. You might have to replace it every like 5 to 10 years or so, but that's like a lot less frequently than you buy pads or tampons, right? And this particular one, the Diva cup, costs $30. So I paid $30 for this thing 3 years ago, and I have not had to buy any pads or tampons since. So that's a huge money savings, plus just the time and the hassle of having to go out and buy those things, having a place to put them under your bathroom cabinet, and the boxes are toppling over and it's just like a whole mess in there. So it saved me all of that headache and money by using the menstrual cup. The second reason to use a menstrual cup is that it helps reduce your waste. So if you're using pads or tampons, all of those things have to go in your trash, and then from there they have to go to the landfill. And over a lifetime, that really adds up if you think about all the pads and tampons that you're gonna go through over the course of you having a period. It's a lot. So using a menstrual cup is gonna help eliminate all of that. And the third reason to use a menstrual cup is that it could potentially reduce your exposure to chemicals and pesticides. So if you're using cotton pads and cotton tampons, then those are made from cotton, and cotton can be sprayed with certain chemicals and herbicides and pesticides and things like that during the growing process. Plus, they're going through the whole manufacturing process to get from cotton to the end product of pads or tampons. So by using a menstrual cup, you're not going to be exposed to those things. Now, you can get pads and tampons that are made with organic cotton, but honestly, there aren't a lot of options out there for many people, and often you can't find them at all in stores. Plus, that jacks up the price even more. So all that money you would be spending on pads and tampons, now you're spending even more if you get the organic varieties. So now that you know why menstrual cups are awesome, you might be wondering, how do I actually use that thing? How do I make it do what I need it to do? So like I said, this is mine. It's the Diva cup brand, but I mean, no matter what brand you get, they're all gonna have the same basic features. So the menstrual cup has this kind of like little cup thing. I guess that's the best way. It's in the name, right? So this is where actually all of the fluid and stuff from your period gets collected, and then it has this stem here. So basically what you do is you insert this inside of yourself just like you would a tampon. Now, there are a couple ways you can go about it. There are a couple different folds. So the two most common ones are the U fold, which you basically fold it in a U like that. So I'll do that again. Push down the center and fold it in half. And you can insert it that way, or the way that I find easiest and actually prefer myself is the punch down method. So with that one, you push one side into the other and then punch it down. So then you end up kind of with this pointed shape, and so it just makes it, when you insert it, a lot smaller, and it's kind of more similar to inserting a tampon because it's kind of the same shape as opposed to the U, which is kind of a little bigger and kind of weird. So I'll show that again. The punch down is you push one side into the other and then push it down. So you can see the one side is tucked down in there like that. So that's what that looks like. So those are the couple ways you can do it. So you use that to insert it, and then it has this stem here, and my particular one even has some ridges on the stem and the base. So that's how you remove it. And when it's time to remove it, all you have to do is reach in and push the side of the menstrual cup, because that helps break the suction that it has with your body. So when you push that, it releases any pressure or suction there, and then you can just pull it out, and then you empty the contents into the toilet, rinse it off, and then you can reinsert it when it's clean. Now, that whole process might sound kind of gross. There's definitely kind of a yuck factor involved with this whole thing, but honestly, it's really not that bad, and it's very sanitary. So first off, the menstrual cup is made from medical grade silicone. So the whole reusing aspect, all of that, it's totally fine. It is a durable, heavy duty thing. It's not like flimsy or anything like that. So it's totally fine in that regard. And also, as far as the emptying goes, it's really not that big of a deal. If you are careful about it, you're probably not going to get anything on your hands, and if you do, you can just wash it off. It's the same thing as doing the whole tampon thing too. It's just kind of something that you have to do, and the whole being on your period experience honestly isn't the most fun thing ever. So I think this really, once you get used to it, it's not really any different than dealing with pads or tampons. It's just, you know, a little bit of a different way to do it, but it's still the same process essentially. So the other thing is that with this product, because it holds so much, most people, even at the beginning of their period when they're having their heaviest time, usually you only have to empty it once every 12 hours. And that is awesome, okay? Because first off, it makes being on your period not feel like any different day. Really, usually I empty mine when I wake up in the morning, and I empty it like in the evening time, and that's all I have to do. So you're not having to worry about having, you know, enough pads or tampons packed with you, making sure you have extras. What if you soak through one? All of these things you kind of have to prepare for, and then also having to deal with that throughout the day and keep track of, like, if you're using tampons, you know, keeping track of how long it has it been in, when do I need to remove it, different sizes for different stages of your period, all that stuff. You don't have to worry about it. It's one thing, and you're only going to have to empty it every 12 hours. Now, people who have heavier periods sometimes do have to empty it more often, but still, if you do every 8 hours, a lot of people are going to be home in that window, so it's still not that big of a deal. Point is, if you have to empty this thing, you're almost always going to be doing it at home. And if you do have to do it in public, it's not that big of a deal. So there's a couple ways you can go about it. First off, if you're in a totally public restroom, you can just clean it off with like toilet paper or something like that. Just make sure you wash it really well the next time you use it. The other option is that a lot of places do have like family style bathrooms where it's just a big stall with like a private sink and everything for families. So as long as there isn't like a line of families waiting for the family bathroom, I think it's perfectly fine to just use that. And then you're gonna have a private sink where you can do all of that stuff, and you don't have to worry about people seeing you or looking at you weird or it being like gross to do in public. But like I said, it's probably not something that you would ever have to do anyways, so it's really not a concern. As far as keeping a menstrual cup clean, it's really pretty easy. Just whenever you remove it to empty it, you want to rinse it out through the sink. It does have these little holes here to help break the suction when you're trying to remove it. So you just want to make sure that there's nothing in those holes, that they're clean and free, and just rinse it off and make sure it's clean, and then you can reinsert it. When your period is over and you no longer need to use it for that month, then you just simply want to give it a good wash again, and then the Diva cup actually comes with a little storage pouch, and I usually just keep mine in the bathroom. You can put it in the medicine cabinet or under the sink or something like that until you need it again. Also, if you want to, like every few months or so, put it in some boiling water to sterilize it, if that makes you feel better about the cleanliness, you can totally do it. I don't think it's really necessary, but it is something that you could do like every few months if you wanted to, just to make sure that everything is staying nice and clean. And I just have to say that using a menstrual cup is like one of the best decisions I've ever made. That might sound a little dramatic, okay? It sounds a lot dramatic, but it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. You know, when I bought it, I was a little unsure about it, but I always like to use myself as like the guinea pig so I can tell everyone else about it. So I figured I should try it, and really, it's been awesome. I mean, just the fact of not having to buy any products like pads or tampons anymore, not having to worry about having those things with me, and then also just not having to have all of that waste to throw away, and also saving the money on it. It's been a great product. And I mean, even if you do have to replace it like every 5 or 10 years, I mean, it's still a huge money savings from what you would have been spending on all of the pads and tampons and all of that stuff. So I think it's awesome. And like I said before, it makes me feel like I'm not even on my period. You can't feel it. It's just like using a tampon. It's the same thing, except you have to change it way less often. So you don't even really have to think about it. And it just makes your everyday life the same as any other day when you're on your period. Now, I do have to say there is a little bit of a learning curve with it. So the first couple times I tried to put it in, I didn't really know if I'd done it right, but it's kind of the same thing you go through when you're first learning how to use tampons, you know? It's something new, you've never done it before, and there's a little bit of a learning curve when you're trying to figure it out. If you can handle tampons, you can totally handle this. It's the same kind of idea. It does require you to be comfortable with your body because you are inserting this by hand rather than with an applicator like a lot of tampons are, but it's really not that bad, and it's basically the same idea. So those are my thoughts on menstrual cups. If you have any questions, definitely leave those in the comments because these things are awesome, and I don't want any questions or concerns that you're having to get in your way of buying one if you think it might be a good option for you. Now, I normally talk about real food on this channel, so if you're new and you'd like real food tips and tricks as well as natural living stuff, then make sure that you subscribe. Eating a real foods diet and living a natural lifestyle isn't always easy, especially if you're just starting out. But I know that if you have all of the knowledge and the resources and the information that you need, that you can totally do it. And that's why I make these videos, because I want to make living a real foods lifestyle and a natural lifestyle as easy for you as possible. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your real foods and natural living journey. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.